Ever heard of a king who was supposed to be a nobody? A child ruler pushed aside, expected to live his life in the shadow of a powerful regent. This is the story of Thutmose III, a pharaoh whose beginnings were so humble, no one could have predicted he'd become one of the greatest military leaders in history. When his father died, Thutmose was just a little boy. His stepmother, the powerful Hatshepsut, took the throne not as a regent, but as a full-fledged pharaoh. Imagine being the rightful king, but having to stand by while someone else wears the crown and holds all the power. Many would have grown bitter, plotted revenge, or simply faded into obscurity. But Thutmose did something different. He waited, he watched, and most importantly, he learned. While Hatshepsut was busy building magnificent temples and expanding trade routes, Thutmose was quietly preparing. He didn't waste his youth on resentment. Instead, he immersed himself in military training. He studied strategy, mastered archery and charioteering, and learned how to lead men. He was playing the long game, understanding that true power isn't just given, it's earned through discipline and preparation. He was a king in waiting, forging himself into the leader Egypt would one day desperately need. For 22 long years, he observed, saw how the court worked, how diplomacy was conducted, and how an empire was managed. He was a silent student in the greatest classroom of all, the royal court of Egypt. This period wasn't a setback. It was his ultimate training ground. It gave him the one thing that instant power never could, wisdom. Then, the moment came. Hatshepsut died, and Thutmose III finally ascended to the throne. No longer a boy, but a man forged in the fires of patience. He was in his prime, ready and armed with decades of knowledge. The surrounding kingdoms, which had grown bold and stopped paying tribute to Egypt during Hatshepsut's peaceful reign, saw an untested pharaoh. They thought he would be weak. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Within months of taking power, Thutmose III launched his first military campaign. He didn't just lead from the rear. He personally marched at the head of his army into the legendary Battle of Megiddo. He was a brilliant strategist, employing surprise tactics and bold maneuvers that his enemies never saw coming. It was a decisive victory, and it was just the beginning. Over the next 2 decades, Thutmose led at least 17 military campaigns, marching his armies across the Near East, from Syria to Nubia. He never lost a single battle. He wasn't just a conqueror. He was a strategic genius. He established a network of spies, perfected supply lines, and used naval power to support his land forces. He transformed the Egyptian army into an unstoppable professional fighting machine. He expanded Egypt's borders further than any pharaoh before him, creating an empire that stretched from modern-day Sudan all the way to the Euphrates River in Iraq. The wealth that poured into Egypt from conquered lands and tribute was staggering. This influx of resources funded one of the most ambitious construction booms in Egyptian history. Thutmose built temples, monuments, and obelisks that still stand today, testaments to his power and vision. But his legacy is more than just military might. He was also a skilled administrator who knew how to govern a vast and diverse empire. He treated conquered peoples fairly, often taking their children to be educated in Egypt. This brilliant move ensured future loyalty and integrated new territories into the Egyptian sphere of influence. He was a warrior, a builder, and a statesman, all in one. From a sideline child to the Napoleon of Ancient Egypt, Thutmose III's life is a powerful reminder that where you start doesn't have to determine where you finish. He proved that patience, preparation, and an unshakable will to learn can turn an underdog into an icon. His story isn't just about a king, it's about the incredible power of turning waiting into preparation. He waited in the shadows, not as a prisoner, but as a predator, gathering strength until it was his time to strike. So, if you ever feel overlooked or underestimated, remember Thutmose III. Remember the boy king who waited, learned, and then conquered the world. His story proves that greatness isn't always about being the loudest person in the room. Sometimes, it's about being the most prepared. If Thutmose III could rise from the shadows to redefine greatness, so can you. Subscribe, like, and share this story to inspire someone you know today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.